All right, we are live. Lots of news to go over. We're going to look at what Swift is doing with consensus and Linea. We're also going to talk about Ripple solutions connected to Swift. I got a ton of other related news with HBAR, XRP, Bitcoin. We're going to take a look at some other stuff in the market. I got some updates from institutional adoption, ETF approvals, all kinds of news. We're also going to take a look at what's going on with the larger part of the economy. And look, in the United States, we might be getting a $1,000 to $2,000 dividend check, says President Trump. So we're going to take a look at what that could mean for markets as well. I got some data and information to show you. It's so good to be here with you. I wanted to first, before we jump into things, my wife is having a birthday tomorrow. And so I wanted to wish my wife a very happy birthday, Thaisa. Happy birthday. I love you very much. Thank you for allowing me to be involved in all of this and take a lot of my time away from us so I can just do this. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great birthday, and just big shout out to you. Mwah. Congratulations. All right. Let's see here. We got Crypto Kane first here. What's up, Crypto Kane? Let's go. What's up, dude? We have a few other people on in. Nice to see you. Hero M Portuguese, okay? I don't speak Portuguese, but nice to have you here. Christopher's here. Hey guys, hope everyone is having a good week, Sensei. Hope you're well. Anyone see the new Palantir ad for CBDCs? Yeah, I did see that. We could take a look at that actually. Palantir's got their fingerprints on everything now, right? That has to do with some interesting connections. I don't know if we really want to get into that though here, but you know, I've got a lot of ideas on Palantir, but they're interconnected with every level of government now, thanks to JD Vance, right? So, anyways, we'll talk about that, Christopher. Ariana's here to keep the chat safe. Great to see you, Ariana. AK Scarface in the house. Great to see you. Luke, what's up, dude? XRP. We're gonna talk about it. What's up, Kevin? Great to see you, man. Good evening from Lakeland, Florida. Great to see you, Kevin. I hope you're well, man. Koof, what's up? And then if you guys, if you're willing to share the space, like the space, I'd really appreciate that. Jesse Rodriguez says, are you going to Ripple Swell 2026? Actually, I am not going to Ripple Swell in 2026. I did not get an invite. So I don't know, man. I asked for an invite and I did not get an invite. So I don't think they're very interested in smaller YouTube channels, and maybe we'll get there one day. It's on my dream board of attending sometime. So Just Maui says aloha. What's up, dude? We got Tom in the house. Good to see you, Tom. George says QFS is real. QFS is real. Starlink and crypto will take over. I think a lot of us believe you are absolutely right about crypto taking over. Cape Cod in the house. What's up, John? Great to see you, man. Kate is here. Great to see you, Kate. How are you doing? We got PK checking in from Canada. Great to see you, PK. LAX is in the house. Great to see you, LAX. All right, let's just get in then. Oh, OSOK. Great to see you, man. I sent you an email. I don't know if you saw that. I hope you're okay, man. You know what? I'll text you my phone number, and you can text me. We'll talk. Have you heard of XCL? Ooh, what is XCL? Let's take a look here. Let's take a look. XCL. What is XCL? XCL. The XCL mafia can't be stopped. XCL just did a 5X. Xceller AI. No, I've never heard of this, but hey, good to see people making money. XCL. Let's see here. What is the new crypto asset XCL that just launched? Hold on, let's get a photo here. Xceller. All right, we'll get some information on that here in just a second. Just let's go really quickly and talk about what's happening in the news here. And then we'll jump into some questions. Bitcoin just flipped an 8-year resistance into support. We also see the global M2 money supply is exploding. 180,000 for Bitcoin incoming. Man, this is what we've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. We are finally here. Anders X did post this. I thought this was a good post to bring up to you guys, because I do think this is how we really do reach mass adoption, is through smartphones. If something will bring mass adoption, it's this. I had this thought 7 years ago, is the best way to bring mass retail adoption will be to have an app on your phone, preferably pre-installed, with the big buy button on it, and everything else is handled in the background. And so it's highlighting this post from Brian Armstrong, excited to be partnering with Samsung to make crypto even more accessible. We're offering $75 million plus Samsung Galaxy users in the US free access to Coinbase One to bring them on board. So, you know, this is how you get to, let me just bring this down real quick. This is how you get mass adoption. You know, people need to have easier access to be able to buy the assets that they might be interested in, right? And if you have an option on your phone that's like pre-installed, or an ability to get access to these things even easier, like let's say you have a cell phone account with Samsung and your provider, whatever, you buy a new phone, you get the phone, the app, the Coinbase app is pre-installed, right? And let's say it creates an account for you automatically. You know, just it has all your personal data and information. Maybe you have to upload like a picture ID and confirm a few things. But if you can make that onboarding process that much easier, you're going to be able to bring in tens of millions of new people, especially here in the US, and billions eventually globally. And, you know, we need to be thinking of new and innovative ways to bring people in and interconnect them. I'd imagine that we're going to wake up one day and everyone, you know, there'll be an update from Apple and Samsung, and everybody will have a crypto wallet, right? It'll be tied to either your phone number or your email on your phone. Obviously, you're going to have to figure out security and all of these things, but that's really how you're going to be able to onboard 6 billion people overnight. It wouldn't be interesting just to see how that works. And like, if you wanted to get really crazy with it, you could airdrop. Let's say, you know, you take $1 billion and airdrop some, you know, 50 cents or quarter to people. And I don't know, there's ways that they could start getting people involved. Obviously, CBDCs is one of those ways that they're going to get you involved. They're going to offer you money to be a part of a CBDC, but good to see growth here happening. All right. CBDC just announced live on TV that Walmart will accept Bitcoin. Let me go ahead and play this for you. 32 seconds. Let me just throw in my headphones here. Let's do it.
And just the ease of which, you know, regular folks, people who, you know, go to Walmart, there are 150 million Americans who use Walmart online or in person every week, can now actually have crypto in the very same app. They can buy it, they can hold it, they can store it, they can trade it if they want. And then when they want to go pay for something, they can, you know, turn it into cash. And like we said, go, you know, OnePay is actually integrated into the checkouts of Walmart. So it is, I think, a milestone in that case, Carl.
Okay, really quickly though, it is a milestone in that case, but who is the average person who shops at Walmart? The average person who shops at Walmart is interested in savings, is interested in deals. Sometimes, often people are living paycheck to paycheck. Those people are not sitting on a mountain of Bitcoin. Those people are not going to go out of their way to use Bitcoin at Walmart, right? So I don't think you're speaking to the right audience there, but it's great to see crypto adoption. I would imagine stablecoins would be more valuable than being able to use Bitcoin at Walmart, but it is something that you can say. I guess it brings publicity. It gets us talking about it. But I'm just trying to imagine, I mean, how many times have you, right? Anybody listening to my voice, how many times have you used crypto to buy something that's not crypto related, right? Have you ever used crypto to buy groceries or a coffee or a burger or shopping at Safeway or Walmart or Target or whatever the store, retail store that you go to? I don't think I've ever done it. And I'm in crypto 24/7. So I can imagine that people who are not in crypto 24/7, do you think they're like going out of their way to use Bitcoin at Walmart? I don't know. You guys tell me, what do you think here? Samsung leads the way, Apple follows. Tom, you know, I can't disagree with you there, man. I cannot disagree with you there. Horror on flippy locks. That it's interesting. Hey, Sensei, can you confirm the bull run on these over the next few months, especially XRP, HBAR, XCC, XLM, Algo. I mean, I think you have a great combination of 5 assets right there. I don't know as much about Algorand, and I don't spend as much time on HBAR and XLM. I do know that those are the XRP, HBAR, XTC, and XLM are assets I personally own. I don't own any Algorand, and maybe that's just the lack of my education in Algorand. But I think all 5 of those are really well-known assets that institutions are interested in using. So I think you have a great combination there. I think you're going to do really well this market. When Apple is going to come out with a crypto wallet on their phones, guaranteed they're looking into it. Absolutely. You would have to imagine Apple is 100% looking at it. Like, I would imagine they are already designing some type of wallet and feature. I think it's, I don't have anything specifically to point to say, hey, Apple's this, but I'm sure if we research it, we can find something. Let's see here. Hey, Sensei, love what you do from the UK. Just heard midnight here. I know it's a little late for UK, but I'm so glad you're with us. Thank you, Levi XRP. I hope you're doing well, man. And I hope things are good in the UK for you right now. Let's see here. PB and J, always a good combination. First thing, I'll buy a house for my family. They're already a website where you can go and do that, as new home listings updated daily that you can purchase from your XRP. It sounds like PB&J is doing some planning on what he's going to do, or what he or she's going to do if and when their crypto is worth a lot more. And buying a house for the family, I think, is on the top priority list for a lot of people. So I'd love to hear that. Jake Allen says, did anybody get the Gemini XRP card? I think a lot of people actually did. Definitely, man. Definitely. Gabriel, great to see you, man. Thanks for all that you do. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here and supporting the channel. It means the world to me. Really appreciate you. Chipper in the house. What's up, Chipper? Great to see you, dude. Yeah, so Brian has a good point here. I know there's a lot of people that might have plans of what they're going to do when they're crypto. I want to sell at this point. I want to do this and this point. There is a growing number of people that, instead of selling their assets, they are going to go and borrow against those assets, right? And, either way is whatever the solution is easiest for you. Obviously, you're going to go do that. But these options are out there where you don't have to sell your assets. You can leverage against them. Obviously, that comes with a lot of other risks, and you need to talk with a financial advisor or financial planner who understands those risks. But yes, if you can find ways to hold on to those assets, because they should appreciate over time here, over the next 10 to 20 years, find ways to hold on to those assets. Just understand all of the risks associated, whichever which way you go. All right. Thank you for sharing that. All right, let's get back into some news here. We've got a lot of other stuff I want to talk to you guys about. Looks like Circle is evolving here. What was once a stablecoin network is becoming a full stack platform company. Check this out.
So this sort of professional grade infrastructure that can run, which the world's leading institutions will be able to depend on and know what those assurances are. That is a critical evolution here. The bottom line is, this is a massive investment for Circle. We are evolving our role from being a stablecoin network operator, which is really what we've been heavily doing for the last 5 to 8 years, into more of a full stack company that has, working at the application layer with CPN and at the network operating system layer with ARC.
Sounds like Circle wants to be a Ripple, right? They want to have multiple technologies, multiple options for institutions, and they did in fact apply for a banking license, around the same time Ripple did. So I'd imagine Circle is going to be a player here for the future, and they're trying to line that up. So great to see that. ETF, Apapalooza. I can never say that properly. Anyways, check this out. Rex Osprey just filed 21 crypto ETFs, right? The SEC just made it easier for a certain ETF product to get approved. It was a standard listing. What is it? Standard listing. Hold on. I had just posted about this in the new community, actually. Hold on. 1 second. Let me just pull this up real quick. I wanted to, oh man, I got to log in. All right, hold on. I don't want to do all this. Let me just go back to Perplexity, SEC listing standards. Let's pull this up. If you haven't seen my video, yep, here we go. Got it. Coming up now. Here it is. Okay, so if you're not familiar why this is happening, let's just go through it really quickly. The SEC has dramatically streamlined the process for approving crypto exchange traded funds with new generic listing standards. I think that was the word I was missing, generic. These standards allow exchanges to list commodity-based ETFs, including those tied to cryptocurrencies, without the lengthy individual SEC review. So in previous times, like in the past, it's taken up to 240 days sometimes to get these products approved. And each product needed to go through a review process where somebody had to go and look through all the documents and you had to do all of these different things. Now, if there is a futures market already for the asset, the digital asset, you can get spot ETFs approved much more quickly. All right. And so the SEC has made it easier for institutions to develop and streamline these products to their customers. Now, we are going to get a huge saturation of products. Make no mistakes. I would imagine the most popular products you're going to see here are going to be products that are in bundles. So instead of like just Chainlink by itself, maybe you have Chainlink, XRP, Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum, right? You have these bundled ETF products that represent a larger share. When you're talking about the stock market and these types of places, you often have people that are interested in investing in the top, Magnificent Seven or the top tech stocks or the top AI stocks. And so you can bundle all of these things together. And I believe those will be where a lot of the value turns up and shows up from. Now, anytime you have new markets and you have a rush of things coming onto the market, there's often going to be things that are successful and there's going to be things that fall by the wayside and just don't get adopted. People are not interested, and you're going to see a lot of that. So if you're interested in participating in any of these funds, obviously talk with your financial advisor because that's who's going to tell you what to do here. But also understand, like, what is the adoption cycle of these assets, right? If it's a bundle, you need to understand what's in the bundle, right? In each one of those assets. So I'm just trying to give you some additional context and information on that. All right. XRP news. Let me see here. Oh, I thought this was interesting. So, what was this? It was like a week or two before I went on vacation. Maybe it was a little bit before that. I brought up a token called Polyfax. If you guys remember, let me see here. Polyfax. Let me see. What is the right? Let me see. Polyfax. Yes, here. This token. Let me pull it up. Okay, so I had brought up this token to you. Okay, this was at 1.2 million. And we had gotten into it pretty early here. So right around this area right here, right around 1.2, right here, right? I live streamed, I came on, and this was sent to me by one of our team, and I got into this thing, okay? I happened to catch this enormous pump here, okay? And I made some pretty decent profit. This is still up 300% in about a month's time. But if you were able to catch this pump, you made a lot of money, right? If you see something pumping 1,000% in a day, ladies and gentlemen, unless it's like a meme coin that's like very, extremely popular, it's gaining traction and speed, 1,000% in a day, you're looking to take some profits here. Okay. The reason these types of projects are becoming more and more popular is exactly this reason. Let me play this video for you. Now, understand that this video, the quality isn't very good. It's grainy, so it's not your screen. Don't refresh, don't close and reopen the app, but just listen to what's being said here. I believe the person on stage is Arthur Hayes, but let me play this.
What do you think about prediction markets? It will be big.
It's talking about prediction markets. One more time.
What do you think about prediction markets? It will be bigger than meme coins, or you just like top right now because it's hot take right now and it's interesting in your opinion?
I was just on stage with Tom Lee a few hours ago, and he made a great point that poly market, at least in the U.S. election, got the winner of every single state correct. And so I think that at least in politics and in the U.S. context, I mean, different countries have different cycles. You have 2026 and 2028, and you're going to find that the politicians and the people are going to be looking at these prediction markets to inform them of what is the popular opinion, because obviously the media lies to you, the politicians lie to you, but when people put their own money on the line, they're not going to lie to themselves. They want to make money. They're going to only bet on the thing they think is going to happen. So that's why I think prediction markets are going to be a very good social signifier to cut away all the noise. What does someone actually think when real money is on the line?
What do you
Okay, so the key here is prediction markets are hot right now in crypto. Okay, if you are buying XRP and Bitcoin, Ethereum, and your goal is to hold long term, but you also dip your toe into altcoins and newer tokens and newer projects. The one thing you got to understand about the crypto market is you have to go where the trends are. Okay, I'll say it again. You have to go where the trends are. You have to go where money is, right? If you try to get into an area of crypto or a blockchain in crypto where there's not a lot of liquidity and there's not a lot of investment, you might be buying something and sitting on it for a long time. But if you want to make money today, the best places to do that is where everybody else is trying to make money because there's a lot of liquidity. And right now, prediction market projects are very hot. So just keep that in mind when you're out here. AI is very hot right now. Infrastructure play, DPIN, those are the things that people are looking at. Real world assets obviously is a hot button. It is something that's going to evolve over the next few years. If you take a look at the overall real world assets on blockchain right now, it's a very, very small ecosystem. I think I saw a number the other day where there's only like $26 billion in real world assets tokenized so far. 26 billion out of $2 quadrillion, probably more than that. So there is still a lot of money to be made in this market. And just be paying attention, guys. Just be paying attention. All right, 21 shares files for 21 altcoin ETFs. Like, it is insane. So you had Rex Osprey 21. Now you have 21 shares filing for 21. This is getting crazy, right? You're going to see a flood of institutional money coming in. But remember, not all products are created equally. Just be careful. All right. I do have some clips here about Stellar. Let's go ahead and play a little bit of this, and then we'll jump into some questions.
Blockchain that has been around for a long time, that is purpose-built for everyday financial services, and that has that respectability and that ability to engage with the enterprise side of it. So one of the places where I will spend most of my time is making sure that there is more enterprise adoption. Stellar has been super successful in the past in bringing names like MoneyGram and Franklin Templeton and Wisdom Tree. PayPal announced that they were deploying their stablecoin on Stellar. And the measure of success for me is going to be if a year from now we have 10, 20, 30 other names that are choosing to deploy Stellar on the institutional side. I think that's where we get extreme distribution. You'll hear me talk a lot about building for extreme distribution, building for scale.
Yeah.
How do we get products that can be taken to the masses?
So let me follow up on this infrastructure idea that I know that you have mentioned that quite a few times. How does that fit with the enterprise, ambitions in regards to blockchains and so on? So there's a lot of conversation about infrastructure everywhere, like digital public infrastructure, like the Brazilian PIX. How does that fit with the enterprise world?
So I've been in fintech for a long time. And if you look at the evolution of fintech for the last 20, maybe for the last 30 years, most of the innovation that has happened on fintech has been either on the UX side, on better interfaces for consumers to interact with, or on fraud prevention, how to detect bad actors in card not present environments. But the pipes to move value have stayed the same for the last more than 30 years, even 50. It's funny, the expression for a bank-to-bank transfer in English is a wire transfer. And it's called a wire transfer because initially they were set on telegram wires. So that was technology was 100 years old. When you think of what does it take for infrastructure to be bank grade and enterprise grade, as an industry, traditionally blockchain talks a lot about some of the shiny objects. And we talk a lot about speed and we talk a lot about cost. And Stellar has incredible strengths in speed and cost.
All right. let me see here. Let me just check in with the chat. Somebody said Chipper is everywhere. Yeah, I see Chipper everywhere too, man. He is on it. What's up, Observer? Good to see you. You out preaching XCL Mafia yet? No, I don't know what XCL Mafia is. Is that the project that somebody brought up earlier? Let me see. Yeah, somebody brought it up earlier. I have no idea. I am not in XCL. Any news out of Singapore? Are we talking about like Thunes? What kind of news are we looking for? I do think there's a few things that I saw. Hold on. Singapore. I don't know. I was making some content earlier, but I don't know. You tell me. What have you seen? Katrina K in the house. Great to see you, Katrina. Chipper, are you in XSeller? Do I need to look at this? I've been tapped out for 3 minutes now. Somebody timing you out? It's making huge gains. I mean, there's a lot of things in crypto making huge gains. What's the risk, though? I'm in it. Well, good to see you making money. I saw somebody post about it. Like, I saw somebody post about it, but I have no idea what it is, man. Let me see. Let's just see what this is really quickly. Seller is a new privacy-focused DeFi crypto asset launched following its pre-sale late September. The token is designed to offer autonomous, untraceable blockchain transactions. Fox Formula XCL is powered by proprietary privacy technology. XLR plans to expand across multiple ecosystems. We all have plans in life, don't we? 700 billion tokens. Jesus. 50% of all platform charges are allocated as rewards to holders. Like, this is what scares me. This is what worries me. Why? Like, if you have a good product, why would you give 50% to holders? Like, this screams kind of like some kind of DeFi rug. I don't know, man. I'd be very careful. Anytime a project offers you 50% back in fees, like, it's not a serious company, right? A serious company will never offer you that. Like, this is the only type of stuff you can find in DeFi. But I'd imagine it comes with extreme risk. If it's all untraceable and this and that, you probably don't know who the founders are. I'd just be careful. Just, it's, you know, a Zoom Austin. Yeah, I saw that. Hey man, if you guys think that's a good token, I'm all for you guys making money. Yeah, like I'm just gonna stay out of it. Like, I'm pretty stoked with it, man. You go make your money. I love to hear people making money in crypto. Honestly, at this point, I'm still trying to buy as much like HBAR and more XRP and these types of things as I can at this point. How do you have nice hair all the time? It's not. I don't just wake up like this. Actually, it's funny because I've worn my hair like this for a few years now, and like I have it kind of programmed where like when I dry it, I just comb it and it sits in this form like dry. And when I go to sleep and I wake up, my hair is like, you know, I look like Frankenstein or some kind of crazy. My hair's all crazy. But I appreciate you. Thank you for the kind words. I do work hard at it. I do work hard at it. Thank you. Do you think we're breaking all-time new highs this month? Are we talking about for XRP, Jordan? I think we're talking about XRP, right? Well, I mean, Jake Claver's prediction, are we heading to like $750 this month or something? Like, you know, Japanese bond market's collapsing, Tether's collapsing, Bitcoin's collapsing. We're going to the moon this month, right? Or is that next month? I can't keep up. I don't know. Realistically, I think we have a lot of good things going for us. I think liquidity is coming in, rates are coming down. People are going to be borrowing money to the hilt to put into to markets. You have a very low supply that's available for XRP on exchanges, and you have these ETF products that are days away. it feels to me like a perfect storm. What does that actually do for price? I think we're going to find out. I would just be guessing, right? And I don't think you're here to hear guesses and made up numbers and things like that. You know, I'm not here to sell you a fantasy. I'm here to just give you the facts that I know them, and we're gonna take this ride together, right? We're gonna take this ride together. I think there's a lot of really good things going. Chipper says, I don't do pre-sales or airdrops. I think that's some pretty good advice. I don't know anything about reactive network. Let's take a look. Reactive network. Let's see. Reactive network. What is reactive network? The reactive network is a blockchain platform that enables advanced smart contracts called reactive smart contracts, RCS, to automatically execute actions in response to on-chain events across multiple blockchain networks. Unlike traditional smart contracts, which only respond when directly triggered by a user transactions, reactive smart contracts can autonomously react to events from different chains, enabling seamless cross-chain automation. I mean, sounds pretty cool. Let me see here. Let's see if there's some socials. I want to take a look at what's going on X. Let's see here. There's the X. Let's give a follow. Personalized interoperability execution layer for EVM ecosystems. I mean, they picked the right place to build. Looks like they've been here since July 2018. Is that accurate? That's a pretty long time to be building in the space. Hold on. How many posts do they have? I get a little nervous when I see that long. It doesn't say how many posts. Let me see. Just trying to see people that are following it that follow me. I have to take a look, man. Thank you for bringing this up, OS. Okay. Yeah, Jordan, I mean, you tell me what you see. I mean, I'm sure you watch my content as well as Mickles and Jake Clavers. I mean, what do you think is going to happen? I think we're in the right place at the right time, and you know, history will tell us. Listen, I think there's a lot of smart people in the industry that are saying a lot of things. I think when I go through all the content that I look at every single day, I tell you that like half the people believe that we're on the edge of just like crazy prices and mass adoption. And I take a look at the other side where this is still going to take some time. Infrastructure still be building out. We don't have regulation yet in the United States and all of these other things, right? So who's right? You know, I think both sides are right at the same time, right? I think that we are on the cusp of a lot of institutional money, trillions of dollars that are about to flow into the space. How quickly that flows into the space depends on regulation, jurisdictions, and updating previous laws to allow the sale. You know, like when something is sold on the blockchain, how does that get recorded in the real world, right? I think there's all of these different things that jurisdictions need to figure out. And the US is very close in getting that figured out. I did hear a few things from people connected into the Trump administration that when regulation is passed, it's still going to take a few years for the SEC and the CFTC to set rules and different things around regulation. So if that's the case, it could take a few more years here. But there are people that believe the system's about to totally collapse. And if that does, you know, could XRP be the thing that saves it? It's very difficult to know who is right there, but we're going to find out, right? PNB and Jay says, watch you for years, have a lot of respect for you. Same situation for Jake, no disrespect, but I think that he has much more insider information and a whole lot of net worth on the line. Hey, man, absolutely. He's got a lot to lose at this point. He's got a lot to lose right now. I'm hoping he's right, but I do think there are a lot of people that have the same point of view that you do. that he's got inside information that this is going to happen. I mean, it's going to suck if it doesn't, right? I'm just trying to play both sides here. Devil's advocate. Don't get me wrong. I want him to be right. What's up, Sveta? Nice to see you. His career's on the line. I don't think his career's on the line, but I think he has grown his platform and his business and all of these things off of some of these price predictions, right? I've seen some of the interviews that he's gotten because of his price predictions. And, you know, that's a lot of pressure to take on. I hope he's right. Like, I just want everyone to be clear. I want him to be right more than anything. We go about giving people information differently, just a little differently is all. Yeah, we all want Jake to be right, dude. We all want Jake to be right, right? And like, I think there's gonna be a lot of happy people if he is right. All right, let's take a look here. We do need to talk a little bit about Solana because Solana is performing extremely well out here. And, you know, is Solana still a good buy at $250 or $240? Let me play this.
I believe Solana in 5 years, we're going to be looking back and saying, whoa, Solana has the largest market share of all these layer ones. So if you ask me to rank the layer ones, I'd tell you Solana's at the top of the list, and Solana will be, to me, the rail system for real world assets, stocks and bonds, commercial paper, etc. You and I both know that there are big banks here in the United States that are looking to tokenize on Solana. And when those stories come out and they're fully fleshed, I think it's going to be a very, very exciting time for you at the foundation, for me as an investor, and for people who actually are going to get real utility out of the technology.
We are definitely talking our bags out here right now. Anthony Scaramucci has actually been a very big voice for Solana over the last maybe, I don't know, 12 months, 18 months. And he's probably right as far as Solana's adoption. I think it is going to, I wouldn't be shocked if over the next 5 years, Solana is, you know, multiple 4 digits. I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised. Hailstorm, great to see you. What's good? What's good? Nice. Thanks for being here. I see a lot of members in the chat. Thanks to you. So I appreciate you. Solana at the top, nothing against it, but XRP has more utility at institutional level. Hey, I don't disagree. I didn't say Solana at the top. But I do think it's going to be extremely valuable. They just need to get out of the, like, I don't know. Do you think the meme coin stuff hurt them or helped them? That's the question, right? And I'm trying to read Brian Toll's comment here. Klaver's bet does not benefit him. It benefits some people who got scammed. Not familiar with what you're talking about there. Yeah, I think maybe Chipper is a clone. Maybe there's multiple Chippers. Like when one of them goes to sleep, the other one wakes up and is online. Chipper's online 24/7. Yeah, I think that's at the end of the day, like, you know, I've been in crypto now for over 5 years. And I've seen a lot of predictions come and go. And like, I can tell you that like 99% of people's predictions don't happen. And I've seen people actively like quitting their jobs, selling whatever, like going all in on somebody's prediction because they think that person has some type of inside information. And he probably does. He probably does. But here's the problem. I was talking with my good friend about Jay Klaver's prediction as far as the carry trade unwinding. Okay. And the hard part is there are probably central banks, right? The US mainly, Japan, UK, China, and every other country that holds US debt is probably looking to prevent a total collapse of the system, right? I think what he doesn't express is what would that do to the US economy and every other economy around the world if that does play out. Okay? So just to refresh here, Japan is the largest holder of US debt. If Japan's financial system starts to go under, collapsing, they are going to be forced to start dumping that debt, US debt. Okay? It's not just going to be Japan. The other two biggest holders of US debt are China and the UK. Those are the three. Those are the top three. If those three start panic selling US Treasury bonds, that's going to collapse the US Treasury bond market because you won't have enough buyers on this side to make up for it. Okay? The US dollar collapses, right? US markets collapse. Billions of people around the world are now affected. But XRP holders will be good. I don't know. I would imagine there are a lot of people in a lot of places that are doing everything they can to make sure that doesn't happen. I don't know. You tell me if my logic here is not sound. I mean, let me know. Jake says if certain macroeconomics aligns, we can see 3 to 4 digits. Yeah, I totally get it. Totally get it. If the entire world's financial system collapsed tomorrow and we had to move to XRP, XRP would probably be worth more than 3 to 4 digits, right? Is that going to happen though? That's the hard part, guys. That's the hard part. Chipper says, I sleep 2 to 3 hours at times. Love that. Hey, Will Jones, thank you for the donation. I appreciate you. And thank you for pointing that out. All right, Frank Kerr is now a member of the channel. Thank you, Frank. Appreciate you. All right, let me get back into some news here. I really don't want to spend an hour talking about Jake's predictions. It looks like there is a Chairman French Hill and a few others sent a letter to the SEC Chair Paul Atkins to raise concerns about the SEC's mishandling of the former Chair Gensler's text messages and calls for stronger oversight to ensure compliance. This is going to get interesting. This is going to get interesting. ETF opportunities, trust delays to October 10th, 2x long ETFs, October 10th, 2025 for XRP, Solana, Trump, Litecoin, Milana, Bonk, BNB, Cardano, Chainlink, Polkadot. I didn't know this was still a thing. Didn't that like totally collapse the Melania token? I don't know. Interesting. It does. Here's some just updated information because I know a lot of people are paying attention to what's going on here. Rate cuts into 2.9 core PCE inflation, the first time in 30 years. Rapidly deteriorating U.S. labor market outlook. Deficit spending running over $2 trillion per year. Jobs report suspended due to government shutdown. 2 more Fed rate cuts in 2025 into stagflation. $100 billion plus per quarter in AI, CapEx, and the Magnificent Seven. Own assets or be left behind. There's also this. This comes 24 hours. Do I have the clip? Hold on, I got the clip somewhere. Let me play the clip. I think we should take a look at this. All right, let me play the clip here. All right, here you go.
You grow yourself out, and the numbers are so much bigger than they ever were. The numbers we have now are bigger than they ever were. So when you have $36 trillion in debt a year ago or 2 years ago, and you have a lot less revenue coming in, then you have 37 or 38. It's not 38 yet, but it will be. And the numbers are so much bigger. All of a sudden, 38, you're under levered, whereas for 36, you were highly levered. We're not highly levered anymore. Now, with that being said, we'll pay back debt, but we also might make a distribution to the people, almost like a dividend to the people of America.
How much are you thinking for that, sir?
Well, we're thinking maybe $1,000 to $2,000. Be great.
Another way that you
Okay, so possible dividends paid, 1,000 to 2,000. Like who would qualify for this? I want to go through this really quickly because I found this interesting. Okay, so who would qualify? U.S. citizens or legal residents, social security numbers, incomes threshold, full amounts for single filers earning up to $75,000 a year, households up to $112,000, married couples up to $150,000. So if you probably make less than this, you would probably qualify. Just looking at this, adjusted for income eligibility, this is basically 210 to 220 million adult Americans. If you gave $1,000, that would cost $210 billion. If you did 2,000, it would cost roughly about $420 billion. The issue here is you've only collected, so as of September 2025, cumulative tariffs reached about 214 billion this year. This is going out to the end of the year. So if we've only, this is January to September, excuse me. And so at the end of the year, if you get another 30 billion, 30 billion, and 30 billion, you're going to be roughly around 300 billion. But if you're giving back 200 to 400 billion, you're basically giving back everything you just took in tariffs. That is something that I don't understand. Like, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And then you have this clip too here, which I think is important to talk about all this.
This is just pouring fuel on an inflation fire. I mean, what causes inflation over here? Oh, maybe tariffs. If not tariffs, let's actually hand everybody cash. I mean, this is helicopter cash. It goes all the way back to like Ben Bernanke time, and we'll get into helicopters and throw cash out there. $2,000 in people's pockets at this point is going to re-spark inflation. It all of a sudden changes the Fed and their outlook. Believe me, Fed is not cutting anything if they actually believe that the administration is going to be putting capital out on the streets. In the near term, I think it's a very much a positive for crypto and altcoins in general. People are going to take that capital and it's going to work its way into accounts. It's going to work its way into that marketplace fairly rapidly. The negative effect of it, though, is clear and decisive. It's going to mean higher interest rates.
That is a predicament. That is a predicament. I don't know how you solve that, guys. Oh, so we do have Tom talking about XRP here. As Tom says, XRP is a centralized shitcoin with almost half the supply held out of circulation, but can be added by the founders. All right, Tom. Well, hey, we appreciate you being here. Thank you for your comment. The most of the escrow, Ripple cannot unlock. It is in a timed escrow. They don't have control over unlocking it anytime they want. All right. So 1 billion gets released every month. And out of that 1 billion, almost every month this year, 700 million has been relocked. Okay. So using kind of your words here, if that was the case, Ripple wouldn't be relocking 700 million XRP. They would just be dumping it out on the open market. So I'd have to disagree with some of the things that you said here, Tom, but I still appreciate you being here and I appreciate your opinion. But all good, man. Everybody has the right to think the way that they want to and believe what they want to. And I wish you well, man. I really do. PB&J, thank you for sharing this, man. I heard, Mastermind, I heard it's a great group, dude. I heard it's a great group. A lot of insider information. You do wonder, like, is that a problem though, right? Is that an issue? Like, if you were the SEC or the CFTC and you were worried about insider information being shared about anything, you would think one of the targets would be that group. right? Because I've heard a lot of people talking about a lot of insider information being shared. I just worry. It's just maybe be careful about sharing that stuff. Yeah, the escrow was an important part. I mean, it was good. It was good that they did lock it up. Doctor says it'll be a multiplier effect when the ETFs launch. It's going to surprise a lot of people. Thank you, Doctor. RSR is mooning. Gene, great to hear from you, man. How's it going? I just think like the dividend checks, that's going to be a very complicated thing, right? Like if like the I don't know the logic. I can't understand it. If you like the whole reason for the tariffs was to bring back manufacturing, was to bring back jobs, was to raise money to pay down debt. Okay? So you throw the country into a bit of chaos for like the last 6 months. And I think we can all agree it's been a little chaotic. Job market is a lot worse than we thought it was. Businesses are not hiring. Most are not building. And everyone's waiting to see what the next thing is next. But all of the revenue that you just did all of this for, right? Now you're just going to give it back to some people. I don't know. Like, I don't know how that plays out. Like, I can't put that together in my head. Like, something's wrong in my head with that. So I don't know. Like, is it going to lead to higher inflation? Is it going to lead to the Fed not cutting rates? I guess we'll find out. I just know that this is what's being said, and all I can do is share that with you. I know there's a lot of passionate opinions on both sides, and I get it. Everyone's a little right about everything, okay? But this is what's going on. This is what I can show you. That's all I have, okay? Okay, and so we'll see how this unfolds. Just want to let you know, if this does happen, obviously it'll be good for crypto markets in the short term. It'll be bad for inflation. It'll be bad for interest rates. But giving people free money, they put that into the markets, stock market, bond market. Think about putting, 100 billion fresh capital into the markets. I think a lot of it will be lost on like meme coins and dumb stuff, but it'll fuel markets for some time. All right. U.S. crude oil production surged to a record 13.6 million barrels per day in July. Over the last 5 years, U.S. oil production has risen 4 million barrels per day, or about 40%. Since 2008, production has more than tripled, including other liquids. Total U.S. petroleum output reached a record 21.2 million barrels per day. Meanwhile, global oil markets are on track for record surplus. So, I know that, I don't know, man. Like, I know a lot of people talk about, oil, us not having enough oil and things like that. It looks like we've never had enough oil to this date. I mean, look at this production levels in the U.S. It's super crazy. Investors are piling into options at a record pace. Check this out. Total call options volume on the averaged over 40 million contracts a day for the past 20 days. It's the most on record. Call options volume have doubled over the last 3 years. This is also 12 million contracts above 2021 meme stock frenzy. Furthermore, call options as a share of total options volume hit 65% on Wednesday, matching the highs seen in late 2024. By comparison, during the April sell-off, this metric sat at about 47%, one of the lowest readings since the 2022 bear market. Bullish sentiment is through the roof. And then here is another shocking stat. Here you go. Gold prices have now posted their 8th consecutive quarterly gain, with the 3rd longest streak on record. The trials only 9-quarter run in 2019 and 2020, and the record of the 12-quarter mile streak 2019 and 2011. Over the stretch, gold prices have surged 108%. A lot of this is due to how poorly the US dollar is doing. But people have been piling into gold. Central banks have been piling into gold for the last several years. We've been keeping a close eye on that. And then Black Swan Capitalist says liquidity creates speculation. Speculation drives bull cycles. The convergence of retail and institutional capital set the stage for market expansion. So man, things are going to get really, really interesting, and then they're going to get really, really terrible, right? Hold on, get ready. Foreign holdings of U.S. equities has risen to a record of $20 trillion. This marks a 2.5 trillion rise over the last few months. Investors from overseas are now 30% of the $60 trillion in U.S. equity market, the most since data going back to 1945. Additionally, foreign investors' allocation to U.S. equities as a percentage of U.S. financial assets hit a record 61%. This is now 7% points above 2000 dot-com bubble highs. To put this into perspective, the all-time low was 20% in 1974, and the 2008 financial crisis was a low of 25%. Foreign investors are all in U.S. stocks. You do start to wonder, though, like, when is this going to start coming back down, right? Is there going to be some type of black swan event to liquidate a lot of this, right? You start to wonder. Usually when you get too top heavy on something, there is a correction in the future. Just be prepared for that correction. We don't know when it's going to come, but I'd imagine it's going to come, and it's going to reverse hard the other way. Just be prepared for that. First-time home buyers have fallen to a record low. I mean, I think this is kind of self-explanatory, right? We don't really need to get into that too much. All right, let's just do this. Let's jump into some questions here. I know there's some passionate people in the chat. I'm not going to go back through a bunch of stuff, but let me go ahead and see what's going on here. Tom, could we just like be respectful of people in the chat? If not, I'm gonna have to, have the mods maybe put you on timeout. Deep breaths. I know we're maybe having a bad day out in the world on some other stuff, and coming in here and taking it out on just, regular hardworking people, probably not the smartest thing, man. So I appreciate you though, man. Thanks for being here. Jezabar, great to see you. What's up? We got Vadim in here too. Bitcoin tears when I retire. Bitcoin tears when I retire, excuse me. Does Tom own XRP? Does he own XRP and he's shitting on XRP? Does he really? People are the strangest. Let's see here. Raccoon 589 says 2020 Russia US oil energy contract ended. UK Ukraine set a 100-year contract with the USA. Guess what happens if Russia and the US natural allies always been? But do you think that's happening though? I don't know. I look at some of the recent things that Trump has said, and it sounds like they're giving Ukraine even more tools now to hit in deep inside Russia. So I don't know, man. I know that oil refining in Russia's like 40% has been taken offline due to like drones and these types of things. I would imagine that was going to negatively impact. I thought oil was going to start being more expensive, and I'm still waiting for that, right, to play out. And it's just kind of crazy. Your boss is a Bitcoin guy. I guess he probably doesn't own enough Bitcoin if he's still there, right? If he was like a Bitcoin, if he had multi-millions, he probably wouldn't still be there. But hey, I'm rooting for everybody. Bitcoin does well, XRP will do well, XDC, XLM, HBAR, it'll all do well if Bitcoin does well. Conservative, I do think XRP could, be 3 digits over the next few years, definitely. If there's a total collapse, 4 digits, I understand that. It really comes down to how much XRP, how much of the supply is left, right? How much people are taking profits, how much is going back onto exchanges. There really isn't enough XRP. And I know a lot of people are very passionate about Jake. Jake did say that he believes that there's only about 2 billion XRP that's in retail's hands, and the rest is in institutional hands. And there's less than 2 billion XRP on exchanges. So you start to wonder like what kind of effect that's going to have. And it could be a very dramatic effect. I think he said because of the low supply on exchanges, that he believes that a 50x market cap multiplier will be indefinite. So if that's the case, you get $100 billion coming in with a 50x multiplier. Things will get interesting really quickly. It's 5 trillion. You know, you need what? You need 50 trillion to get to $1,000 market cap. In that case, you need $1 trillion of hard money coming in. Can it happen? I guess we'll see. The other Tom is saying, please don't ban me. I'm a regular person. This is the good Tom. I'm just kidding, dude. We're having a little fun. Another Tom pops up. They're everywhere. All right, just oh, there's multiple Toms. We got to be careful. There's like 4 Toms in the chat. Hey Blair, have you missed my video on Epic, or is it still coming? I did a few videos on Epic Chain. I did a few videos like 2-3 months ago, actually, on Epic Chain. I see a lot of people posting about it now, but we did that a few months ago. I'm probably going to make another one here soon. I was waiting for more updates and more things to happen. Man, I hope that's all correct. See, like part of my thought process here with the market cap multiplier, and I think, you know, is we've kind of seen this play out twice already, though, with Bitcoin and with Ethereum. And either one of those assets saw a market cap above 50 continue. Like that is what my brain gets stuck on, right? And so there might be some truth to what he's saying there, but also, like, Bitcoin has a very low supply. Why didn't we see an even bigger market cap multiplier continue with Bitcoin, right? Because even if you have 2 billion circulating, the actual circulating with XRP, how much was circulating with Bitcoin when Bitcoin reached those levels? You know, so I always try to go back and compare it to data I already have and I already know. So we're talking about XRP acting differently from both what Bitcoin and Ethereum did. And I think that is what that's the crux of it. Michael P with the $5 donation. Is 100,000 XRP enough to get wealthy? Michael P, I think 100,000 XRP puts you in the top like 0.5% of XRP holders. That's a lot. That's a lot, man. You know? Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are looking at your bag and saying, man, I wish I had 100,000 XRP. That's a great amount. It's a good amount, man. Yeah, we're gonna have Tom start changing their names, you know, like Safe Tom, or, you know, different Tom, or Tom B or something. You gotta get a last name so we avoid it. Vadim says, if you spend your day going to YouTube channels just to talk smack about some coin, no amount of money can help you in life. You know, I think we all get worked up and passionate about the things that we believe in, the information that we take in. And I've been thinking a lot about this recently, you know, because when I talk to some friends, like people I truly like spending time with, they think about a lot of things differently than I do. And like, I always like, I have the right answers, you know, I've researched this, you know, this, right? And I'm thinking to myself recently, like, does it all matter, right? Are you really going to convince somebody else that their viewpoint, or maybe what they've understood, or something that they're passionate about has been wrong? Or like, there's just no point, right? You can offer some clarity on something that you may have, but at the end of the day, you're never going to change somebody's deep beliefs about stuff. And like, I've had to learn how to deal with that in my personal life. And I think we could all kind of maybe take some lessons from that, right? We all want to be right. Anyways, Michael, thank you for the donation, man. And good luck on your XRP, brother. It's a great bag. Yeah, see, a lot of people are saying 100K. Now, just a piece of friendly advice. Okay. You know, one of the things that I've learned is don't tell people how much crypto you have, right? I know we all think that maybe we have a screen name on YouTube and it's not connected to anything and nobody will ever find out who we are. But there are some really smart people out in the world, and you don't want to create a target for yourself. So, you know, just be careful. Just be careful, right? You want to protect your assets. Tom, see, Tom, the other Tom is like, oh snap, you know what? I know how to do this. I won't get banned. I'm gonna become a member of the channel, so I'm safe. Tom, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for becoming a member of the channel. I really, really appreciate you. All right, Tom's the other. So I don't want to call him bad Tom, but let's just say other Tom. Other Tom says, I just relaxed and had a Snickers bar. I feel much better. Other Tom is funny. Other Tom is funny. I dumped my entire XRP bag on exchange just now for Fartcoin and Pango. I think he's just having a laugh. I don't think he's serious. I don't think he's serious. I mean, I think out of those two, Pangu, I understand. I don't understand Fartcoin, but all good. Chad Hani says, how can you invest almost $500,000 on an investment and not know what you're buying? Are we talking about XRP? What are we talking about? Nicole says, everything's going to be okay, Tom. Just talk politics with people. Yeah. Where it's not supercharged enough. Nicole, I bet you are a little spitfire at work. I bet you're a little instigator at the water cooler. I'm just, I joke about my wife all the time. She loves to chat. So like when she's off work, she gets off work at 5. And often, like, we're going to order food that night because, we both had a long day and nobody wants to cook and do dishes. And so I'm like, okay, what do you want to order? Right. Cause that's the question of the century is like, what do you want to eat tonight? And then the second question is, how long is it going to take you to get home? Right. And so I have to put an additional like 10 or 15 minutes onto any timeline my wife tells me. Cause I know she's going to be like, she's leaving the office and then anybody that runs into her, she's chatting them up, anyways, I just thought that was funny. PB&J says, I've made it to the top 4% of holders of XRP. I'm proud of my position and conviction. PB&J, love to hear that, man. Love to hear that. And hey, thank you for sharing all the good information you shared earlier. Appreciate you. I think some people think that like Jay Claver and I are at odds on stuff. I think we all want the XRP community to do well. And we all have good intentions of doing that. And I think we just go about it a different way. But I think that he is an incredibly passionate and supportive, and he shares his knowledge and his time and his gift. And that is powerful. That is what we're looking for in the crypto space. So I hope you don't get, my feelings about Jake. I hope you understand that I want him to be correct about a lot of his stuff. I just go about it differently. All right. Appreciate you. I'm green, Tom Mofos. That's the good Tom. All right. That's the good Tom. I thought this was pretty funny, guys. Thank you. Thank you for that. Oh my goodness. That's Husky Tom. Yeah, we're gonna have to label all the Toms now. Entire bag dropped. Robert Kiyosaki, 1,000 XRP is enough. After the multipliers, AI redid it and wouldn't go viral on the news. Why? Raccoon, if you have some like good research or something that you want to share, why don't you just email me? I'll take a look at it. If I find it valuable to the community, I'll make a video on it. I'll give you credit for it. Just send it over, man. I'll take a look. Real Deal says, sorry to be late. All good, man. Great to have you here. Did you happen to go over the wallet spread for XRP already? The wallet spread. Did I miss something? wallet spread. Give me some more context on that, real deal. You peg, Nicole says you pegged me perfectly. They just love me at work. All good, Nicole. All good. You seem like a ball of fun. I truly believe you probably are very popular at work. But I also believe that you probably have more gossip than a lot of people at work too. And I bet that people come to you to share gossip. And I bet you love that. I bet you do. Lewis, hey man, thank you. Thank you. You know, like, to do 3 videos a day, like I don't, you know, like, just, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, how did I get here? You know, how did this happen? Cause you know, about, what was this, maybe like a year and a half ago, I was doing like a video maybe every other day. And I was like, oh, you know, this is a lot to do. You know, I wanted this to be perfect. This, you know, like, oh, this. I was spending just crazy amounts of time. Just, is it perfect? Is it this? Is it this? Right. Then I was like, okay, you know, let's try to do 1 video a day. Right. And then, you know, my editor, Cas, he's like, you know, I think there's enough news that we could try to do, you know, 2 videos a day. And I was like, oh my God, 2 videos a day. Like, that's crazy, man. Because you got to build the content. You got to research the content. You know, sometimes you put together a video and it's just not what you want it to be. And you just scrap it and you start over. Then you got to record it. And most of all of my recordings, I do in one take, one take. And sometimes I'll get 5-10 minutes into a video and my ADHD will just take over and I will go off on some totally random thing. Like, I'll start talking about something and I'll just go off and then I'll have to like scrap the whole video. And then, you know, I started getting to a point where I was just wanting to be so connected to the information. Like, it was so important to me that I was like, you know what, maybe I can do 3 videos a day. There's enough things going on with Ripple and XRP to me. And there's enough new people coming in that need to learn all of this stuff, right? And that is really what kind of pushes me to do 3 videos a day. And so what's hard about this is, if you want to take like Sunday off, right? If you just want to have a day to rest, you have to do some videos. Some days you're doing 4 videos, some days you're doing 5 videos. And then if you miss a day, you know, it's a lot. And I appreciate all the support from the community, the donations, 20 gifted subs from Hailstorm. Like, this is like the support that I really just heartfelt appreciate. Like, I cannot do all of what I am doing with my team and everything without your guys' support. So I just really appreciate you. We should have an XRP party when it goes to the moon. Nicole, like, seriously, you probably are getting the first invite. I want the person there who has the most to say. That's going to be you, Nicole. So I'm looking forward to it. What is your hope and pray for XRP price by the end of this year? I would be thoroughly impressed if we could reach like $30 to $50 by the end of the year. You know, and I know that's not what everybody wants to hear, but $30 is a 10x from where we are right now. That'd be a $1.5 trillion market cap, give or take. No, 10x from here. One is at 170 billion. Let me look. Let's be exact. Oh. 182 billion. So we're talking about a $1.8 trillion market cap for $30 XRP. I mean, I think that's going to be challenging in itself. It really will depend on how much demand there's going to be for ETF products, right? Are the Mark McClugs of the world correct? Are we going to get $5 billion in fresh inflows into spot XRP products in the first 30 days? That's really going to set the pace if we're going to be able to hit $20, $30 before the end of the year, or if we're going to be able to hit $100 or $500 for the end of the year. I think to get to like $100 or $500 or something like Jake's predictions, you are going to need to see some type of collapse. And that is going to be catastrophic for markets, right? And like, I don't think people really think it all the way through. And I cannot root for the total collapse of the, you know, the bond market. It's just not something that it'll bring so much pain and poverty and distress. I'm not going to root for it. If it happens, I'm prepared, but I'm not going to root for it. Versatile, thank you for the $4.99. I appreciate you. I'm gonna have to have Nicole as the party planning committee. That's good. Yeah, PB&J. Yeah, just guys, listen. Your crypto is your future, right? The crypto you have right now, whatever it is, it is your future. Protect it at all costs. Imagine any person that's trying to reach out to you on Twitter, on YouTube, on Discord, on Telegram. Imagine every single person is a scammer until you prove them not to be. You don't give them your seed phrase. You don't give them your wallet address. You don't give them any personal information. Nothing. This is what you have. And your decisions over the next few months, few years, it could mean everything to your family and the generations to come. Just be careful. X-Bull. Hey man, I saw you on Mario Nafal's chat. Like you were with a bunch of other people. You look good, man. You sounded good too. Appreciate all your hard work, man. If this is the X Finance Bull I'm thinking of, he's got the same picture. I think it is, man. Where is the donation from Matt? 20 gifted subs from Hailstorm. If you're not familiar, Hailstorm gifted, I think it was like, what was it? Was it 20 subs or 15 or 20 subs last week or on a Tuesday? Just incredible passion, love, support. Please give some support to Hailstorm in the chat. Just, man, thank you. I'm also ADHD. Nice. Well, we're good people. We lose everything. I don't think people realize like it's if you can like start really focusing on something, you can hyper focus on it. And I think that's what I do with my XRP research, and I think that's what makes me good at it. But like I'd imagine you're like me, Nicole, where you're like, hey, I'm going to put this, right? I'm going to put this somewhere where I'm going to remember this later. And like 30 minutes goes by and you can't remember where you put it, right? I lose things every single day. Like if I didn't have like my headphones, find my iPhone, find my headphones, I would lose everything. Tom says Sensei does all right. He doesn't show like some on here. I watch Sensei 24-hour crypto, Zach Rector. I tried to block Levi's account and Avis, but I can't figure out how to. Man, hey Tom, listen, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Yeah, man. Hailstorm is man, the support is just it moves me. Like it really moves me. I don't want to start crying, in front of you guys, but like thank you. Tom says, party at my home in Sydney, Australia when XRP hits $100. See? Tom's throwing the party now. I like it. Where's Nicole by the water cooler? Oh my goodness. You guys are too good. You guys are too funny. XRP to the moon. I mean, we're all rooting for it, man. We're all rooting for it. Yeah, I think Ondo is going to do really well, Kenny. Absolutely, dude. They will hit all-time high TVL today, I believe. Like, if you believe in a tokenized future, hold on. Let me see if I can sign into this, dude. Hold on. I had a post about Ondo. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Let me show you this. Let me show you this. Let me show you. This is great, dude. You're gonna love this. This is for you, Kenny. All right, check this out. All right, nobody is ready for Ondo. Look at this. Building on the basics. Ondo Global Markets. If you're not familiar with some of these companies, let's just go through a few of them. I don't know every logo, but I know enough here. You got Spotify, got Nvidia, you got Amazon, Airbnb, you got Avalanche, AMD, Netflix is on here. I mean, like Tesla, like S&P. Listen, if you believe in a tokenized future, Ondo Finance is the way forward. Is the way forward. Their collaboration with Ripple, BlackRock, tokenizing treasuries, money market funds, that's where hundreds of billions of dollars in value is going to go. I'd imagine it'll go to trillions one day. I don't know how long that'll take, but I'm extremely, extremely bullish. Mo says, what percentage of institutional adoption do you realistically think XRP will achieve 1 year from now? It really depends on regulation. It depends on jurisdictions around the world. Are we talking about adoption through tokenized assets? Or are we talking about adoption for cross-border payments? Because I think those are two different things and with two different timelines, realistically. I think payments, if Brad Garlinghouse thinks that they can take 14% of Swiss volume in 5 years, I'd imagine you're looking at a few percentage per year up to that mark, right? Maybe that's 2 to 3% per year. If something catastrophic happens and you have to rush everything to this new system, it'll jump up dramatically. But we are not on that pace right now. It's still slow and steady. You're getting the adoption of stable coins is growing. Financial institutions understand, how important those are going to be to bringing the cost of business down. You got to imagine we're also making a shift into AI, right? And how that is going to negatively impact the workforce. I don't think people realize that, AI is going to replace 20%, 25% of our entire workforce right now. And that's like happening as I speak, right? So if you have 100 million people in your country and, let's just say you have 100 million adults, 100 million working adults, and 25% of those people, that's 1 out of 4 people, right, won't have a job. So what is that going to lead to? Like civil unrest and all of these different things. So how do you combat that? Like, what can you do as a country to soften that? Part of it's retraining. Part of it is lowering the cost for value transfer, right? Tokenization, stablecoins, these types of things. But there's also a darker route that goes like CBDCs, right? If you are unemployed and you cannot pay the bills, right? If you are living paycheck to paycheck and you are trying to find a meal, you're going to take help anywhere you can get it. And that's how they're going to get a lot of people into a CBDC system. Now, it's not going to happen here in the United States for some time, but it will happen, let me tell you, right? I think the UK is probably a prime candidate for this. The ECB, the European Central Bank, is we're supposed to have some information this month about a CBDC. And of course, the adoption of CBDCs globally, that will impact as well. So, what is it going to look like? I'd say a few percentage, anywhere from 2 to 5%. It's going to take some time. I still think it's going to take some time. I think we're all still speculating on the price of these assets. ETFs, institutional adoption is going to help, but that is just bringing money into crypto through products. That is not talking about the adoption of the actual products. It's not talking about adoption of crypto rails, right? Swift just started their collaboration with Linea, Consensus, 30 something banks, right? They just started that. So if Swift today they decided they wanted to do this, there's still 6 to 12 months at least from having a product that they can use. Then they have to audit and test the product. Then they have to get institutions and banks to come in and be a part of the product, right? And maybe that'll be easier for them because they are Swift. But still, that's just the messaging side. Now, I did see they want to do like international payments and settlement and stable coins and all of this stuff. It's all great in theory, but they don't have a working product yet. And I think that is where Ripple and XRP can eat into that with our LUSD. Let's see. OSOK says, what are your thoughts? I was getting the first invite. What? I thought I was getting the first invite. We all need to make the pilgrimage to Hawaii. Dev, so we're talking about a party. We're not talking about, like, I guess you caught me. Shoot. Nicole got the, well, see, Nicole sounds like the party planner, right? And I think, we're just going to let her take over that and just go wild. But I think we're going to have a really good party here. If not, I'll have to come to you. Let's not do Vegas. I hate Vegas. I can't stand it. Let's see here. Tripper says, Sensei, historically, after all-time high shock valuations, there's recessions. Yeah. Dude, like, you cannot look at all of the negative things happening in the economy and think that things are about to go good in 2026. I'd imagine we're going to have some end of the year pumps. You might even have some of the stuff into 2026, but like all of this stuff's catching up to us very quickly. And that's the reason I go through some of this data. Like, yes, it is. Yes, it sucks to go through. And yes, people get mad at me for going through it, but I still got to like tell it to you. I'm worried. I'm absolutely worried. Absolutely. The bond market for banks over the last 5 years, banks have hundreds of billions in unrealized losses. There's only a matter of time before all of this catches up to us. And it's catching up to us. So AK says, Claver said in the mastermind that it was a good thing that Ripple has the escrow. They can release the escrow every month to keep the price stable so they can choose to lock back up and it will cause scarcity. Yeah, the escrow was a brilliant idea. I think Ripple needed to calm the fears of people thinking that they were going to dump those tokens on the open market, and the escrow was a brilliant way to do that. Absolutely. You put a bunch of smart people in a room, they're going to figure out solutions. And that was a good solution. Now, talking about this, you have a lot of people that believe the XRP and escrow is already spoken for, right? I've heard everybody under their sun say, BlackRock, JP Morgan, whatever the institution is, that XRP is spoken for, right? NDAs, right? How many times have we heard 1,700 NDAs? It's all spoken for. If that was the case, why does a significant amount of it keep getting relocked up? Like that is like my, the first thing I think when I see people say that is why do we keep locking up 700 million XRP, 70%? If it's spoken for, you would think it would go to where it's spoken for. Now, if you're a financial institution, maybe you don't need that XRP right now, right? Maybe you would rather have Ripple just keep holding it. And that could be a situation too. But you start to think about it, right? I don't know. You guys are wild. Jacques, Mr. Prescott. Let's just go with that. Sensei, what is the best way to make money in XRP to retain generational wealth, not financial advice? Jace talks about borrowing against one's bag. Borrowing anything scares me. So, listen, Jake's probably got a lot of ideas and ways. I think like that's one of his businesses to kind of set you up with a company in Wyoming, I think, where you can move your XRP there and then, eventually you borrow against it, right? And I think that's a solution that a lot of people are looking at and a lot of people are setting up. I'd imagine if you want like other ways to do that, he's probably one of, since he's doing it constantly and he has a business surrounding it, he's probably the best person to ask about that. Now, there's two options here, right? There might be like other options, but either sell it, you take the money, you pay capital gains on it, right? Or whatever the tax bracket you're in, right? Or you borrow against it, figure out ways to not pay as many fees and taxes. And I think that is why a lot of people say borrow against it instead of selling it, which sounds like probably a smart decision. Now, everybody's going to be situational and maybe selling it isn't what you're looking to do. Like, this is where you want to like spend time, talk with a financial advisor, somebody that understands crypto, somebody that understands these types of things. Like, if you have enough assets, right? And when I say enough, I'm not talking about millions of dollars. You know, if you have $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 in assets today, right? Having a $200 conversation with a financial advisor is probably something that's going to save you a lot of money down the line, right? There's family offices and there's all of these different places that can help you. Just start reaching out. We are all ADHD crazy. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. Man, I could not sit still as a kid. Like, paying attention is always difficult for me. It still is difficult. Like, I have to force myself sometimes. Hailstorm, love the channel. Sensei, most honest info in the space. Man, I can't thank you enough, man. I really can't thank you enough. All I can do is speak from the heart, and I hope that's valuable to some people. You know, I'm not always going to say what you want to hear, and we're going to disagree on a lot of stuff, but this is who I am. You know, I hope it's valuable to you. So not backed by XRP, backed by Ripple, right? So Ripple was an early investor into Eternity Chain, which became Epic Chain, right? I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. What I can say is this. I've been told that there is supposed to be some announcements involving Ripple and XRP coming from Ripple and Epic Chain. Now, I think some of those announcements we're starting to see, but like, I was asking them, like, what is the announcement? That, you know, they're under, I guess, NDAs, they can't share. But I am waiting for some updates on that. This is like one of the latest things. Epic launches Epic One, a cashback card built for the XRP community, spendable across 180 countries with huge merchant circle spread, up to 8% cashback in XRP on every purchase. Now, you're going to have to weigh, right? Do you go with the Epic at 8% possibly, right? And I'd imagine it's 8% on some purchases and lower on others, right? You have to look at the fine print always, right? Or do you go with like Gemini, or do you go with Coinbase? There's a lot of options right now. There's a lot of competition, and competition usually is better for the consumer because you have more to choose from. You have more options. But I'm still waiting to see more announcements coming from them on different things, right? It's great to release a card and all this stuff, but I need some more substance. Yeah, I'd imagine the collapse of the bond market would hurt everything. Yeah, it would hurt. It would. You're talking about a collapse of the dollar, basically, right? You're talking about a collapse of the stock market, the bond market, whatever other market that's paired to the dollar. I mean, you got to understand the dollar is still used by almost every country, right? Obviously, less and less each year. But I mean, think about different commodity markets and futures markets, and like it would be a catastrophe on every level. On every level. I mean, let's just play this out, man. Like let's just spend some time here. Jay Claver's theory involves the bond market collapsing. What would happen to the US dollar if the carry trade, the Japanese carry trade unwinds? Would you have a mass sell-off of US debt around the world? I am thinking about, well, first of all, who are the largest holders of US debt. List them in order. How much would those countries try to dump bonds? What would a sudden rush of it would be like a panic sell, right? Let's just not use panic though. Let's just get this information first. Let's try to build this. Okay. Here you go. If the Japanese carry trade were to unwind suddenly, the result could be significant volatility for the US dollar and global bond markets, but the risk of a catastrophic mass sell-off by foreign central banks is considered relatively low by most analysts. So a lot of people have looked at this and say it's relatively low, but obviously they're going to say that Japanese investors who historically have been large holders of US treasuries due to the low yields at home might repatriate funds if Japanese bond yields rise sharply, strengthening the yen and weakening the US dollar. Unwinding the carry chain and unwind typically happens when Japanese rates rise and US Japan yield spreads narrow. This could create capital outflows from US assets, leading to a weaker US dollar. However, the evidence in recent episodes, 2025, 2024, 2025, suggests Japanese institutions have tended to hedge rather than outright sell large amounts of treasuries. All right, so here's the list of countries with the most treasuries. All right, but we need to kind of take this thing out of critical thinking and like what would happen. So let's say the worst thing happens. How does that play out? And what happens to the US stock market, bond market, and crypto market? Let's see. In a severe crisis such as a global bond market collapse or rapid carry trade unwind, countries would have to sell their holdings to defend their own currencies and rebalance portfolios. Large-scale rapid dumping is less likely except in extreme scenarios of U.S. default risk. U.S. default risk. Do we understand what we're really talking about here? Right? Yes, XRP could be $1,000 because the US dollar has lost 99% of its value due to a total collapse, right? Even when China, Japan, or other holders have offloaded treasuries in recent years, they've done so gradually without triggering a panic. See, like this wouldn't be gradually, this would be a panic. Financial authorities in Japan and elsewhere are incentivized to maintain stability, right? So we got to understand that there are people all over trying to make sure this doesn't happen. If forced to act, Japan could, in theory, try to offload its 1.13 trillion in treasuries, but in practice would likely proceed in stages. So let's look at the worst case scenario. With simultaneous collapse of the U.S. bond market, sudden reversal of Japanese carry trade, and mass liquidation of U.S. treasuries, the fallout would devastate the U.S. stock market, trigger historic turmoil in the bond market, and create acute complex effects in the crypto market. Global panic unfolds as major institutions and sovereign holders rush to offload U.S. treasuries, spiking yields and sending bond prices plummeting. Confidence in the U.S. dollar. So you got to understand, most of these banks and institutions, right, are holding U.S. treasury bonds. What happens to those banks? Do they just become illiquid overnight? Like that's what we're talking about here too. Your money in your bank, you think it's safe? Interesting. Confidence in the U.S. dollar rapidly erodes with large-scale capital flight into hard assets like gold and select foreign currencies and extreme volatility across all major markets. Equity investors, seeing soaring borrowing costs and system-wide stress, began panic selling, leading to a stock market crash, basically worse than 2008. Safe haven flows into treasuries, historically reliable, are absent as the bond market itself is the epicenter of the problem. Stock prices crash as liquidity dries up and risk aversion escalates. Major indices experience double-digit percentage declines in days and even hours. You basically be rapidly entering a bear market instantaneously. Bond yields surge due to mass redemptions. Also, what do you think this does to interest rates, right? What do you think they would have to do to combat something like this? You'd be looking at like 15, 20% interest rates, I would imagine. U.S. government borrowing costs spike, amplifying fiscal stress and making refinancing U.S. debt extraordinarily difficult, further undermining market confidence. Like this would be like the end of the US dollar. I don't know if it's that drastic, but it would be pretty bad. It would be pretty bad. Here, let me just go down because I know you guys have all been chatting as I've been reading this. Hunter, what's up, dude? Good to see you, man. Welcome. Brian. Thank you, man. Thank you, dude. The energy fades throughout the day. So I try to record in the morning when I have the good energy. Because at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I am down. I mean, it's good. It's good to talk about these things. It's good to have a plan in case these things happen. But I don't think people really understand what they're rooting for when they're rooting for the carry trade to unwind. Like, I don't think people comprehend all of the bad stuff that comes with it. And that's why I made that recent video about, the carry trade. I wanted people to understand these are the things that I see when I hear these things. And, I don't know everything, right? And obviously it's Jake's theory, right? But listening to all of what I just went through, do you think that that's going to happen in the next few months? You also would need Tether and Bitcoin to collapse too, right? Because if the bond market collapses, I think to see how this plays in, if the bond market collapses, the most of the assets that are backing Tether are US bonds. Tether would depeg, right? That makes sense. Tether would depeg. That would affect Bitcoin. And then Jake believes that value would go into, let's say, XRP, which that does make sense. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Yeah, 200 million. Nicole says 200 million doesn't mean much when your money isn't worth anything. Great point. I think we've seen the pictures of people wheelbarrowing cash, to the bakery to buy a loaf of bread. Like that could happen, right? We're living in a very complicated world right now. There's a lot of moving parts. It's very hard to keep track of all of it. And it's gonna be kind of crazy. Raccoon says, "Oh ye hope hyenas and Fed will buy CBDC and happy with their suppressed freedoms." This is the way the world's headed. And I think this is why people want to participate in crypto. They want to avoid being stuck in the same system that has not helped them ever, right? This debt system that we were born into, that our parents say, go to school, get a good education so you can make a lot of money, be happy, right? We've been told this our entire lives, been hammered this into our heads, right? How do you get out of the system? You got to break the system or make enough money where the system doesn't impact you. The only way to do that is to take whatever you have and turn it into enough. How do you do that? Most people invest in technology, right? And I think that's what we're trying to do here. Game of Cats sounds like a great reset to me. That's exactly what it would be. But I wonder what the odds of a great reset actually happening are. Anybody know? You would think the price prediction would be even higher though, right? With all of these catalysts coming to a head, you would think the price prediction would be 5,000 or 10,000. Let's see here. Jake knows that he said it only last few days when XRP comes into play, hence where the Phoenix rises symbolic. What did he say the last few days? All good, man. Great to see you, dude. Guys, if you're just watching, let me show you this dude's channel. X Finance. Here you go. This is the gentleman right here. I actually used some of his posts in some of my content. Really well thought out, methodical, great information about XRP, other assets that you probably hold. Go check out X Finance Bull. Let's support each other here in the community. Great person to follow on X. Good to see you, dude. Rooster, somebody was talking about Xceller earlier. I don't own it. I don't plan to buy it, but if you're making money, man, awesome. That's great. One of the things that, like, what we're just taking a look at it quickly, I think it was like 50% of fees go to holders or something like that. I just thought that was a little weird. Usually when you have, like, those are the weird things, degen investors are looking for. But hey, if it's making you money and you've already taken your initial out and profit, man, you go rock and roll. That's just a little, it's not kind of what I'm looking for right now. But I hope you kill it, man. Oh, Nicole. I kind of want to meet you in real life, Nicole. I feel like you're a very sassy person, but I like that. I like sassiness. I'm up 350% on Xceller. Man, make that money. Good job. Good job. Love to see people making money in crypto, man. Like, that's what it's all about. Hailstorm says, I just bought more silver 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I mean, the dollar's been having a really terrible year. I mean, as that continues, silver, gold, Bitcoin, everything else going up. Nicole says when she gets to Hawaii, she's going to find me. Fair enough, Nicole. Fair enough. I'll be here. We should have like a community area where people can like connect and what's it called? That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, we're like, if things get bad, Chris, like, I can't imagine us getting there. I mean, to be fair, have we got spending controlled in 2025? We're actually spending more money in 2025 than was spent in 2024. And I think if you look at history, one would say that both sides spend pretty well, right? Spend pretty well evenly. Let's just take a look here, Looking at the last 25 years, which parties in the US were responsible for the most debt added to US debt? Let's just see, right? I'm sure it's very close to even, you would think, but let's just see. We never know. Over the last 25 years, both major parties have overseen substantial increases in U.S. national debt. The largest and absolute additions occurred under Republican Presidents George Bush and Donald Trump, beginning with January 2025. Man, when you look at the facts, like it kind of hits you in the nuts, doesn't it? The presidency is George W. Bush from 2001 to 2009 and Donald Trump 2017 to 2019, reelected in 2025, saw major debt increases, especially due to tax cuts for rich people. Interesting. The Iraq and Afghanistan wars and pandemic stimulus. Trump's first terms nearly added $7.8 trillion to national debt. Barack Obama added $8.6 trillion during his administration. And Joe Biden added $8.4 trillion. So I'd imagine that both sides are responsible for this. It's fun to look at the numbers sometimes, You have to look at the charts. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, man. I think both sides are ridiculous and to blame, but whatever. We're not going to get into too much of that, man, but hope you're well, dude. I hope you're well. I miss the time when people could have different viewpoints and we didn't hate each other, like absolute hate each other. And it's really sad that it's gotten to that point. It's really sad. It's scary too. Scary too. I did just to look at the tax cuts. Did you not research the tax cuts? The tax cuts, you have no tax on tips, right? That expires in 2028. It goes into effect like 2026. It expires 2 years later. No tax on Social Security, whatever, expires in 2028. But all of the incentives for wealthy people doesn't expire. Where do you think the $2 to $3 trillion in additional to the debt, like, where do you think that came from? Just research it, Game of Cats. Like, we're not arguing here. It's what it is, and it's what it isn't, right? I'm not here defending either side. I'm telling you plainly here. Break down the Trump tax cuts. Who does it serve the best? When does certain aspects of it start and stop? Simple, right? Just look at the data. I just don't understand why we get all caught up in this. Here you go. High income households, 200,000 to 1 million, and especially the 98th percentile, about 358 to 540,000 received the largest tax cuts since 2017. Like, what are we talking about here? The top 0.1% that make over $5 million per year also see large reductions. Middle income Americans also benefit, right? But when does this all expire? Look, let's see here. Some OBB provisions expire, right? 2028, such as no tax income on tip and exclusion. And then you have a few other things here. They cut a bunch of money out of Medicaid, so people's health insurance is going to go up, right? And then they expanded the cap on SALT, which is state and local tax deductions, to 40,000. That used to be 10,000. Here you go. Lower individual rates, permanent. Higher standard deduction. Families with children, that's permanent, great. 20% pass-through deduction. I mean, I am not a tax expert, but it is clear who won the battle here, who's getting the most for their money. And maybe this is going to be you, right? I don't know. Maybe you are that 1%. Maybe you make $5 million a year. I don't know. All right. Anyways, I'm going to go and spend time on the weekend, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching and being here. Just research this stuff yourself, guys. You know, don't always believe what you hear on TV, because most of the time it's bullshit from both sides. Do some due diligence yourself. Thank you for being here. Thank you for Hailstorm, all the donations. Thank you for Ariana, Curtis, Christopher, Chipper, everybody keeping the chat safe. Tom, other Tom, great to see you. You know, Tom who had a Snickers bar. Thank you for being here. Nicole, great to see you. Christopher. Anyways, guys, I'll see you next time. Thank you for being here. Aloha.